right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. 4 reviews up this week. For proper reviews, everything has reached 1.0 and then some, depending on the game. Like the first game we have featured here today, and that is Barony. Now, not the first time we have featured Barony on this channel. As we did give this the multiplayer Let's Play treatment this past Wednesday, since we had a space to fill. Usually we do that on a Friday, but we had an actual interview to do on Friday, and don't like doubling up on a Friday. So, just made sense to parse it out like that. Anyway, so if you want us to, if you want to see the multiplayer footage of this, go watch that episode. It is in the archive. I just wish Twitch had a better way of accessing the archive. I know YouTube allows you to do playlists, but I've never been motivated enough to create playlists to this show. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, in case you missed Wednesday's broadcast and are wondering what Barony is a premier first-person roguelike with cooperative play. Cryptic items, brutal traps, and devious monsters await you. Conquer the dungeon alone, or gather a party in co-op with iconic and unusual RPG classes. Get ready to try and die and try again with a new dungeon every time you play. Yeah, so it's a first-person dungeon crawler, specifically. It's got roguelike in here, but that's not as helpful of a descriptor as it used to be, I suppose. And because, look, if you've been following our reviews for a decent amount of time, you know the term roguelike and its other splinters have been applied to many a game that are very outside of Rogue's imagination, let's say, to say the least. No, this is more of a fusion of 2 old school genres, if you will, or you've got the principle of roguelikes fused with first-person dungeon crawlers, which is a very old genre. Think wizardry, certain parts of Ultima, Dungeon Master. Now, like the early Might and Magic games, and so on and so forth. A very popular thing to do on home computers in the 80s. But here, since you don't have to worry about, very limited memory and such things, you can have it full motion, let's say. Like it moves like an FPS. But it's still a first-person dungeon crawler because, melee is what you're going to be doing more than missile play, let's say. I mean, you do get bows and magic. Like, interestingly enough, I didn't see an ammo counter on bows. And there didn't really seem to be arrows lining around. So, that's a thing that's been simplified from other dungeon crawlers. Hell, other RPGs, now that I think about it, because many are, especially old school RPG, that, you not only had to have the bow, you had to have the arrows, and you had to purchase them. Not usually individually, you'd get bundles of arrows, but they were limited range. No, the bigger concern here is weapon degradation. Like, I assume that the bows display that. I'll be honest, I didn't use the bows all that much. For a couple of reasons. First of all, the bows do operate on more realistic principles than you first expect. That is to say, you have to tense the bow before you can shoot an arrow. That takes a bit of time. It's like, and so many other video games don't take that principle into account. You know, when you have a bow, it's I guess for like a better term, it operates like a video game bow. You know, you just rapid fire one after another without taking into account, you know, actual physics. So, though mind you, it's not got the full range of what actual physics are, in the sense that you don't have to worry about the arrow falling after a certain range. At least that's my experience. Anyway, point of order is there's a delay between each shot, and that can get you killed. I know because it killed me. So I found using the sword or assorted melee weapon was better. Not just because I didn't have to worry about the wind-up as much. I think there's still a wind-up. Much less pronounced. But you can also block with a melee weapon. Which does make sense, because when you got a bow, you got two hands, and you don't have, like, arm shields, let's say. You don't have... you're not, like, you can hold up your arms to deflect a blow. As would be more in line with what you were doing with a bow. Like, at any rate. So, and this also follows the principles of roguelikes in that it is very, very hard. In fact, this game really likes to tout its difficulty. It will, in no uncertain terms, kill you a lot. And once you die, you die. As you'd expect. Like, I'll be honest, that's the kind of thing that usually dissuades me from playing a lot of roguelikes. I think I've mentioned it before, but it's been a while. But it's like some people like the ultra difficulty that such games provide. I'm not really one of them. Like, maybe if I had less games to deal with. See, like Petty here's what I'm talking about. Anyway, and it's not just the enemies that are a concern, but they are certainly a concern. Rocks seem to be my enemy in this fucking game, because how do I put this? Barony here likes pulling the shitty dungeon master trick. As in, you land on a square, rocks fall, everyone dies. That happened to me multiple times. In multiple back-to-back run sessions, no less. Put down the game after that. Never picked it back up. Right. But, you see, other encumbrances to think about. As far as I could tell, there doesn't seem to be a weight system here, which is always nice. Like, I know a lot of I know a fair amount of RPGs like to do that. I've personally never been a fan. It's actually like weapon degradation. Like, I understand what you're going for here. I've never been a fan of that. But as far as inventory space goes, you got a fair amount of inventory space here. Not unlimited, but you won't be doing a lot of item Tetris or item juggling. At least if you keep tabs on your inventory, I'd say. And you can hold up to 10 hotkey items. I will say it's a bit annoying that this game auto-hotkeys it. Every item you pick up gets automatically added to one of your hotkey slots. Like, I would have preferred that not happen, just because, you know, I like to select the items that I want to have in those precious slots. You know, and I don't necessarily want a redundant sword in item slot 5. But perhaps that's just a me thing. Like, there is a health, or not a health, there is a hunger system in place, and that is, we have found out, transcendent via the class system. I'd suggest go watching the multiplayer video for more about the class system. Well, not the class system, the race system. Sorry. There's both a class system and there's a race system. Gotta admit, I didn't really select every class, every race here, because once again, this is the kind of game that kills you, that can more likely than not kill you quickly. So I wasn't really encouraged to try out the more unique classes like the Sexton or the Joker or the Arcanist. You know, maybe a fallacy on my part. But I'm but more about the races, because the upcoming DLC allows you to play play other races, like a skeleton or a vampire or a succubus, and so on and so forth. But since covering the DLC wasn't really a necessary part of this review, we will not do that. Anyway, as far as its graphical presentation goes, it looks very familiar, doesn't it? As it's very much in the style of Minecraft. But that's all it is, just in the style of Minecraft. This game is otherwise very little like Minecraft. Like, maybe you could say that the skeletons look like Minecraft skeletons. Oh, yeah. That's what I remembered about the melee weapons. They do have a wind-up, but that's a damage thing. You know, like if you hold down the left mouse button, you'll be able to charge it. Now, it's not an infinite hold either. It's like after a certain amount of time, you will just unleash it. Now, that's another skill set. Like, anyway, I know there are detractors to this kind of graphical style. You know, like, they think it looks, I don't know, low resolution. Like, it's this weird dichotomy with Minecraft, because this kind of looks like a game from 1992, but it really doesn't, because you did not get a game this sophisticated, graphically speaking, in the early 90s. Certainly not this robust, combining movement and voxels. Like, voxels was a late 90s invention, or mid 90s at best. But even so, like, it's a graphical situation, styling more than anything else. Yeah. And trying to figure out if that's a troll or an ogre.
Control.
Okay. So fire is needed. But anyway, the game looks fine. It's like outside of its voxel heritage and the fact that it looks, let's say, clean, I don't really have much more to say there. Music and sound, I think there's music in this game. I don't have the volume playing, but it's definitely one of those games where it's so understated that I can't even remember if it had music. I've had games like that before. Sound design's fine as well. Like, really, it's audio-visual presentation. It's all fine. Yeah. As far as the gameplay, maybe could have used some more animations with, like, the weapons. Because they're, like, I don't think that the weapons look good in motion. Never did. Yeah, there it is. The boulder fell. Dr. Jones here is dead. But the gameplay works rather well for what it's going for. It's just what it's going for isn't my cup of tea. I said, if you're someone who's put off by extreme difficulty, or need, let's say, accessibility options to play a game, yeah, this isn't going to be for you. But if you're one of those people who play Minecraft on hardcore mode, yeah, I would suggest buying this without a second thought. And I think that's really what it comes down to. Petty, you've been playing the game. Any additional thoughts you've got on Barony?
Not really. It's an alright game, I guess.
Yeah. Gollix, are you here? Okay, just wanted to make sure you didn't slip in. Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But, also in terms of its fantasy trappings, it's mostly a very typical, fantasy dungeon setting. It does have some unique or less explored races and classes that you can play as. So that was a nice flourish. Anyway, so in terms of pricing, so first of all, the base game is $15, but to give you a sense of how long ago this game came out initially, it has a 4-pack option. which ranks at $50. I'm like, would I recommend this in multiplayer? Mildly.
If you don't
Like-
have connection problems.
Yeah, but even aside from that, once again, the extreme difficulty doesn't necessarily result in a long play session. Like,
I mean, I guess if you and the friends are just doing something like casual.
see, I'd have to go the other way. I'd have to say that you and your friends have to be actually dedicated to making progress in this game. Otherwise, you're probably you're only going to spend like 15, 30 minutes on it.
Maybe.
And yeah, maybe this is a more subjective thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let me see here. Yeah, this game does have 2 DLC packs. Barony Legends and Pariahs, and Barony Myths and Outcasts, both retailing for $4. And the Barony Extended Soundtrack for $5. And it does have a DLC bundle for $12.97.
And if you watch any of our play of us, we did have the DLC downloaded, and you need that to play as most of the other things besides humans.
There you are. Yeah. That being said, can't outright recommend the DLC. This is an easy one because the notes that I was given about this game did mention that this DLC is for expert players, veterans. It's not really recommended for those who are first-time players, the novices.
Yeah, you can if you buy it, you can download it and you can not install it or whatever.
Right,
But yeah, most of the other classes are not beginner friendly, such as the automaton that I played as that still gets hungry but needs to eat books instead of actual food items.
right. That being said, the overall recommendation is, you have to be interested in this kind of game for it to be a worthwhile purchase. If you're like me, the kind of person who plays a roguelike for an hour or two and then moves on to something else, probably not the best use of, say, $15 to $50, depending on how many people you want to buy in on the whole thing. Also worth noting, the final package here is the Bard bundle. It's got the Barony 4-pack and the soundtrack for $35.61. Once again, that's a good deal, provided you've got people to play with. If you don't have people to play with, then I'm not sure why you would purchase that, and does make the lack of a proper Barony plus DLC bundle a bit head-scratching. Maybe the developers would want to get on that, so to speak. Or at least, in terms like the Steam release. Anyway, so any other questions, comments, or concerns over Barony here?
Nope.
All right, then. So...
Yeah, I got here late, but I think I said most of the stuff I wanted to say.
Anyway, so yeah, that'll about do it for this game. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Match Ventures.